I don't think many artists can tell you like their brand purpose, or what they stand for, what their music stands for, what it means.
Right.
They fans can't even tell you what it means.
Yeah.
They just like the beat. Yeah, I spend like countless hours of my life just listening to music, um, just gaining inspiration, and just appreciating the art form itself, the expression itself, but mostly just like being a student of it. 90% of my time I'm just like observing and listening for things that I, feel and resonate with, and I'm thinking of like how I can, channel those same feelings and expressions that I love, those same components into my art form itself, So I'm always either creating or listening or just, observing. I'm vulnerable in my music, very much so. Like I say a lot in my music that I can't even talk to the average person about
Right.
because they're gonna basically lead the conversation with ego. They're not gonna listen to me. Like I tell people, there's a difference between being listened to and like heard. So with my music, like people really like hear it and they're like, damn, like you said some shit, like some shit that damn near saved my life for real. Like, and I'm just saying it in the moment, and I'm not even really conscientious or reflective of it in that moment, but I'm having people remind me of like the depths and magnitude of what I'm saying ultimately, and I'm like, damn, like this is poetic, it's real, it's intentional, like I said, and it's like with a purpose ultimately. Like I feel like a messenger in a sense, documenting my own personal journey and the highs and lows of it. And I'm like, if you can relate, you can relate, and if you can't, you can't. These kids now, they got a lot to look forward to in the future, so they sort of need some sort of guidelines, some sort of lead, something to listen to. Like we had Mac Miller, we had Kendrick, we had J. Cole, Tupac, all of the greats, but it's like right now I don't really feel like we have that substance for those kids to really like listen and gain something like from the music and be like, damn, like this is how you live your life, this is how you get through a problem. Like damn, even if I am thinking about suicide, like this artist's perspective on it is making me want to dial back those thoughts and really be reflective and intentional with what I want to do moving forward.
Right.
So I feel like we as artists, we have a higher and greater purpose and responsibility to like really focusing on relatability, like moving forward. Like if we could really just harness that energy and be our most vulnerable selves and just focus on this is who I am to the best of my ability of documenting myself. I hope this is who you are.
Right.
Hopefully you can relate. So I just try to keep it simple. It's authentic, it's raw, it's genuine. Those are the three things. It's like it's uncut. We don't have any hands in the pot, any outward influences like telling us like this is what you should make. You should make a record that resonates with the radio, or make a Trippie Redd sort of record, or a Playboy Cardi record. Like we've grown up together, went to school, had the same interests since we were children, for real, adolescents. So nothing's really changed. We just got older and evolved and refined our styles, and just made it more definitive. We stand out more, we talk a little louder, our voice is a little bit more bolder, the production hits a little bit more harder, it's more cohesive, like it's more intentional and conceptual. Like I feel like we made a lot of like loose tracks back in the day, singles and things like that, but now everything has like a full rollout treatment to it. It's more structured, and that just comes with wisdom and age, maturity. Just constantly being at it and then seeing what you did wrong and trying to improve it the second go around and the third go around. As far as Cincinnati, we give it a breath of fresh air. Like it's authentic hip hop. Like it's nothing that's like really radio, but we can make radio quality records. We just not making that our focus. We want to make it real hip hop, real authentic. Like Tribe, Wu-Tang, everything we really grew up on and were inspired by. Mobb Deep, Ghostface, like the true New York sound, the true hip hop sound of the 90s, the 80s. really was raised on and bred on. So I feel like High Tech, yeah, he's a major key component in my sound and influence in the Cincinnati culture. And I feel like we're continuing the dynasty and the lineage of that sound of like Black Star and Talib Kweli and Mood. You know what I'm saying? Not a lot of people that are in their 20s are using analog equipment and sampling vinyl and using beat machines from the 90s to get that true authentic sound. Like, you can only replicate it through plugins nowadays or get certain producers to make that sound for you. But I feel like we're the second generation of that, you know, the second coming. So I'm excited for what's to come and just excited to see the scene evolve and see us actually get recognition as a whole community. This is a subject that needs to be discussed more. I feel like it's a touchy subject, so it requires, you know, an elaborate answer and response. I just feel like with sampling, you have to be intentional. With my art, when I speak for myself, I'm very intentional. When I hear something, like I said, I'm first a student of it. You know, and I'm listening and I'm observing the things that I feel, you know, resonate with me most. And so when I channel those key components into my rendition of it, I wanted to pay homage and, you know, actually like be a notch above the standard that was set. That's like the ultimate intention. But I feel like a lot of artists nowadays are just really minimalist with the approach. It's not really an effort that goes into it. They hear a 4-bar or 8-bar phrase in a song and they say it's catchy and then loop it and then just rap over, and it's more to it than that. It's actually like a collaging. It's like an art form to me. Right. Like with sampling, it's like audio canvas in a sense or an effect. It's like you're taking patches from here and patches from here and you're layering everything to make it cohesive. Right. And you have to take from different eras, different sources, different genres in order to make it full. Right. And that's what I feel like my method is behind sampling. You know, it's creating a picture, it's creating a scene, an atmosphere grander and larger than the original tone that was set. And if you're not superseding that, then what's the point? Plagiarism, though, like I said, you gotta be very, very, very intentional with your efforts. Right. Like, don't just sample this thing as is. Like, actually, like, sit there and conceptualize and think and, you know, see, like, damn, they use these chords. How could we interpolate these chords into another, you know, bar structure, and, you know, have a drummer come in and replay those drums that are already recorded on the record. It's just taking it a notch above the standard. And like I said, plagiarism is just being just simply just lazy, you know, uncreative. Just, all right, we're taking things for what they are. I don't really endorse that or advocate for that, you know, behavior whatsoever. Right. It's like you want to push the boundaries, you want to push the genre and the culture and community forward. So you got to do future forward things. You know, you got to be light years ahead. It's entertainment. Right. Like, they're not sending Stanley Kubrick and Martin Scorsese to prison because they had Joe Pesci beating a man with a baseball bat in a gravel pit. Like, this entertainment is based off, they say it's based off of hyper reality, but I'm like, bro, the mob was doing this shit. This was accounts that happened. Real violence really happens in real life. We live in urban cities, urban areas. I hear gunshots. I'm in the midst of this. I have relatives that are victims of violence. You get what I'm saying? I have friends that are victims of violence. Like, my friend literally got shot in his hand walking home, like, minding his business. So violence is very real. It's just like when black people and young black artists put a light on the violence that's going on around them, then it's a problem. But like when like Italian writers and directors highlight the mafioso lifestyle they grew up around as a child, it's entertainment, it's a coming of age story, it's beautiful, it's a young boy around a bunch of things and having to decide who he's gonna go with in life, and we deal with that every day and we talking about it in the music. So how is it different from Godfather? How is it different from Michael Corleone taking over his family? Like, how is that different from a kid in the hood when his brother get killed? You know what I'm saying? He the man of the house now. He got to make sure his mom is fed, his sisters is fed. He got to stop going to school. So like we all dealing with our realities accordingly. Some people really go through this and live it, and you can tell. You can tell the pain, you can feel it in your core. You can tell people that are telling a depiction or a reenactment of something. You get what I'm saying, rather, and you can feel the authenticity. You can tell it. Like I said, you can really tell the difference between a real thing and a replica. Like you can tell the difference between a real Jean-Michel Basquiat and then a print. I feel like with my branding and what I represent, I don't really represent murder and crime and all darkness and negativity. I may highlight awareness and, you know, a more reflective and conscientious perspective on it than anything. Like you can listen to my lyrics and clearly break down everything and see like, all right, cool. Live and die by the gun. I'm out here till the war is won. I'm holding arms, strip you down and tore you up. Like it's literally saying like we in a war. Like I live and die by the gun, and I'm talking about how it's an oxymoron. You having guns to protect your life, but you living to die.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? It's a double-sided coin. And so rather than just saying shoot, shoot, kill, 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 murder, murder, it's offering both reflective sides of, you know, protecting yourself, and also, all right, cool, this kid's getting shot out here. You know what I'm saying? This kid's getting robbed out here. I talk about it all. So it's not just a tunnel vision or one-track mind like with the subject matter. And I feel like you can really gain perspective and insight on a lot of different subjects through my music and lyricism. Like a lot of like people in my family and older people may feel like intimidated because of like explicit lyrics and, you know, subject matter, but that's a part of coming of age. That's my developmental story. It's no different from any other great person or leader. Like I compare like my journey and, you know, evolution to like Malcolm X and how he had to go through being a 19-year-old kid that had to steal and do everything under the sun and survive and, you know, become a man and evolve into, you know, the greater man that he was supposed to be. So being able to have my story and my perspective be told, you know, as a black man in America, like through other, you know, artists, it helps, you know what I'm saying? And I want to be a voice, you know, and a platform for other people that don't have a voice to resonate with. So I'm working with Sal Dally. He's a good family friend of mine, basically, he met me at a bar last year. I didn't even know like who he was at the time. It was like my people I was with was just like looking like, who is that dude looking at you, bro? Like, you looking funny over here, yo. Who is dude? I'm like, I don't know. I don't pay him no mind. Don't beat him up either.
Yeah.
Like, chill. And then my dude, he walked off. He's like, man, whatever. I'm getting a drink. And then bro walked over. Sal did. And I was like, damn, like, what's up? Like, yeah, I'm Sal. Like, bro, I fuck with your music. And he's like, yeah, like, Lee Christopher is your cousin, right? I was like, yeah, like, how you know that? Like, word? He's like, yeah, we grew up together. I'm like, damn, that's crazy. He's like, yeah, like, I'm a producer, da 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 da. I'm like, word. Cool, I heard about you. So, like, that same week, we met up at his house in like, Evanston. Yeah, Evanston. And recorded, like, a whole album in, like, the span of 4 days. We did, like, 7 to 8 songs. And then like he sent me beats once he went back to LA, and I like recorded like 3 more after that. So we got like roughly like 10 songs done. And I came up with the album title like shortly after we recorded everything, and it's called Heavy is the Head That Wears the Crown. And a good friend of mine named Mike, he basically like mentioned that phrase to me like in a really like dark time I was in. Like I was in a defeated state, like sleeping in my car, everything, like rock bottom. And like he was just reassuring me that like with like great power, great, you know, talent, great creativity, it comes great burdens, you know. It balances everything out. It's the yin and yang. So I feel like that phrase, heavy is the head that wears the crown, was very reflective of those times that I was in that current state. I was dealing with legal issues, all types of just life and instability, and my housing, just toxic people, all types of stuff. So just had to shake all of that off me and just rise above it all. And I feel like that title is triumphant. It stands for something that's intentional. You know what I'm saying? It's victorious. So that's why it resonated with me, because it's like no matter what problems you go through, what burdens you have, like you are able to overcome that. It's all energy. Gotta be high energy. I don't do a lot of talking. I'm very straightforward with my performances. I don't like people that, hey, so Minnesota. Yeah. Hey, how old are you in the crowd? Yeah. What school do you go to, Spud? It's like, bro, I paid $200 or $50 to see you perform. Just go straight into that shit, man. Yeah. Like, it's not the love connection. Right. I appreciate the intimacy in smaller venues if it's like appropriate, but I don't feel like that's every show. Right. I feel like you gotta have high energy. You gotta be straightforward, all hits. You gotta really understand the set list and have those anthems. I'm learning, like you have to have those like upbeat songs to perform. Your album songs, you have fans that are fans of your albums for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Because they want those songs that like they resonate with the most. People at the shows, they trying to hear the radio joints, they trying to hear the joint they heard in the club. Right. They want to hear bangers and it be consistent. So I try to provide an even dynamic of high energy and just like lower pace energy as well, just so people can calm down, get their breath back, you know what I'm saying? Right. Taking a moment and also appreciate the slower songs as well as they did the upbeat songs. It's like you have to have that dynamic. It's really just like I said, we don't really premeditate this stuff. It just hits. And when it hits, you got one. And then we go from there, like whenever it is a show, all right, cool, I'm just going with these 10 or these 7 or 5, and I know they straight shooters. Other than that, I don't really switch up the routine. When I am previewing new music, I let it be known. Like, that's like an encore or finale. But everything's pretty much cohesive, from the boom bap to the Memphis to the trap and Detroit sound and stuff. It's all cohesive. It's just being a DJ, it helps. Knowing BPMs, knowing the flow of songs, knowing how to read the room and understanding like social cues. Like, all right, cool, they seem really tuned out on this one, so we're not gonna play that. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Like, then when I do this show, like, do it in the performance, because it's not a club song. So I can, differentiate the difference between what's to be utilized for my sets versus what I'm gonna play in a DJ set and things of that nature. Try to make my set list a hybrid of who I am as an artist, like basically an essentials playlist. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, let me hit every decade or every era creatively that I feel like I touch. So if I feel like I did a boom bap era, let me get 10 of the best songs from that era of albums. Let me get 5 songs from like my more experimental wave in 2015 through 2018. 5 of those hits. Just mix them together, you know what I'm saying? And then just evolve them over time. When I release new music, throw 3 songs in there on top of that, take 3 songs out. Right. And just make it an even flow. The moments that have like resonated with me the most was like opening up for Nas in 2016, and also doing a festival with Chief Keef and V's, Lil Key, and like ASAP and the Marino Infantry. Like, that was like one of the biggest shows I did. It was like an overwhelming like experience, and like people were very receptive of my music. Even being on the main stage with that many acts, like, it was really cool to experience. So that's one thing I'll never forget, is being in LA, and that was just like all just underground raw vibes. Much love to Rare House and Shawnee and the whole Rare House camp for just showing love. They really put on for the underground music scene and just the music industry in Los Angeles right now. Like, they from Ohio, they doing big things out there, throwing shows and festivals and curating a lot of dope stuff for the culture. So much love to Warehouse for just providing that opportunity and many more. Sergio refers to Sergio Tacchini tracksuits. It's a tennis brand from the 90s and 80s. I love their tracksuits. So I just named the song Sergio. It's homage to that brand. I sample Slick Rick, Lottie Dottie, classic record. And then I sampled some piano on some weird record, and I was like, that shit sound crazy. And then once I got the drums, I played the drums by hand, like, it's perfect. And the record just came together perfect. It was just really a loop. Like, I just took a loop, just the drum break and the keys, looped that, recorded it. Then I was like, damn, this fire, I need another little component. Put the Slick Rick sample on there, scratched it on the vinyl, layered that on there, and just sort of just looped it and kept it. I made that on house arrest, my mom's basement, like literally waiting for trial to like start and shit, beat all my cases and shit. I'm just like, shit, I'm gonna just make music. Shit, I'm on house arrest, I'm gonna make a whole 3 albums. Fuck it, utilize the government's time. I was just in my mom's basement, made that shit on the fly. My computer crashed. That was the last song I made. So I was like, damn, I don't got the masters, I don't have the stems. Fuck it. Bounce it. Put a compressor on it, put it out. I'm a strong believer in if it's a hit, don't fucking remake it. Don't do shit. Don't try to recapture lightning in a bottle. That shit's hard as hell to do. If the shit sounds good and you can hear what you're saying and it didn't sound like you took a piss on it, put it out. That's one thing I wanted to address on camera. All the people talking shit about my masters and mixes. I make shit on analog equipment. It's not gonna sound like Drake because I'm using shit that's older than me times 2. That's why it's not gonna sound like 21 Savage. That's why it's not gonna sound like Post Malone on the radio on Kiss 107, super squeaky clean with auto-tune and pitch correction. Because we don't do that shit. It's authentic, it's raw, it's analog. Just like when you heard Wu-Tang for the first time. Heard their chains in the background. You hear North Face coats rubbing up against each other in the studio because they was that close to each other in the studio in real time, documenting real energy. And that's what we doing again, keeping it raw in the moment, authentic. Like, we're not sitting here with DJ Khaled getting 8 of us in the room talking about make a song over this beat and it's really an Outkast song. Like, bro, no, we don't have time for that. So you think you know me? The Edge had like the craziest theme song, and then Triple H had Motorhead. Yeah, that shit, bro, it's all about the game and how you play it. Damn. John Cena's theme song was fire, bro. But then I realized this was a white man in jean shorts. Damn, Mark Henry had 3 6 Mafia as his theme too. Somebody go get their ass kicked. I was like, this hard. The Deli Bros, or I would just be on my Attitude Era. It's too many good people, man. I'm gonna go with the Deli Bros. Leave it simple. More visuals, more shows. Right now, just trying to really get more exposure in different territories, different demographics. Get, some like festival opportunities and different concert opportunities. We're also working on some short films. We'll be seeing more merchandising and branding from Youth, the brand, and apparel and things like that. Just a lot. Honestly, I'm focusing on fashion a lot. Yeah. So we're spending a lot of this fall just getting all of our fashion and branding together and just making sure our message behind our brand is appropriate, it makes sense, and it resonates with the audience correctly. So that's just one thing I'm working on, is just making sure we have all of our, ducks in a row, and it all makes sense. It's all intentional. It's all conceptual, and it all has a sole purpose. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Just to resonate with everybody and just be for the culture. We want to just make things that contribute, not take away from it. Right. So that's the whole end goal of this. I feel like by the end of the year, for real, it's like put out another album with Sal, put out another album with Blackie, hopefully with Drugzilla, top of the year, late this year, who might not know. But I got like 4 albums in my sleeve right now. I'm just doing what I can and pacing myself, living one day at a time and just trying to evolve the art and influence, you know, and just be my best self. That's my main focus.